Hello, and welcome to Dr. Shiny Tarot. This is a daily pick a card reading for December the 4th. The purpose of this reading is to give you a brief piece of advice or to help guide your overall focus for the day. If you're looking for a longer, more detailed reading, please check out my channel. I do many other readings, including monthly readings for each star sign, full moon readings, love readings, and many others. If you're new to pick a card readings, the way this works is that you will choose one of the three piles here and then click on the timestamp in the description to skip ahead to the reading that you've selected. If you feel compelled to choose more than one card, that's totally fine. Please follow your intuition here. There's likely to be good advice in each reading, even if one pile is more accurate for you than the others are. So I've also added 3 crystals here to aid in your selection. Here we have Spiderweb Jasper, which is very interesting, Tiger's Eye, and this is Amazonite. So now I'm just going to give you 30 seconds of silence so that you can meditate on your choice if you wish. And when you have your choices in mind, go ahead and find the timestamp for your choice in the description below. Okay, so if you haven't already done so, please now scroll down to the description and click on the timestamp corresponding to your selection for pile 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to go ahead and get started with pile 1. So, for pile 1, just keep that down there. So for pile 1, the situation is the Hierophant in the reverse. So you may feel as though something is kind of weighing down on you in an institutional type of way, rules and regulations, or having to do something in regards to tradition, or this could be institutions like the church or marriage or something. But in some way, this is kind of going to be weighing down on you a little bit. And you're going to feel like, do I really have to do this? Do I really have to fulfill these obligations to these organizations or institutions that generally you have probably agreed to? Now, with some of these like religion, you're kind of born into them and you don't really feel like you have a choice, but in one way or another here, it's going to feel a little bit like there's a strain on you that is based on your obligations. And what you have kind of crossing you or compounding the situation is the Four of Wands, and this is related with the home. So in other words, what's going on here is that you kind of feel pressured to follow this tradition or institution or system of rules or morality in order to maintain a good, happy home. So without this, there's a thought maybe that this will kind of jeopardize this Four of Wands, this really good happy home energy, stability, and everything. And that's it makes a lot of sense because the purpose of the Hierophant is sort of to lay down the law in order to make the home a happy place, in order to help people get along well. So I like to think of the first 7 cards of the major arcana, and the Hierophant is number 5. But I like to think of those first 7 as sort of a metaphor for the development of the human psyche. And you have, of course, rules that are important on a more of an authoritative level, which come from the emperor. And this is like, you can't steal or kill or other things like that. And that's very important for just the social cohesion of the society in general. And those rules are externally imposed, and it doesn't matter what house you grow up in, those rules are always going to be imposed. But then you get a little bit later, you get down to the Hierophant, where these are not things that are necessarily. It's not going to be enforced by law quite so much, but if you don't follow these rules, the purpose of them is to kind of add a little bit of smoothness to home life and to interaction with people, to make things like manners or cultural traditions, which the purpose of it is to really just make life a little bit easier and to help people get along. But you're not really going to go to jail or something for breaking these kind of rules. So it may be that you're feeling a little bit tempted to break some of these rules, to not adhere to the niceties or just the traditions. And that's going to kind of make you feel like you're putting your Four of Wands here, your happy home energy. And it's not just the home. This can also just kind of refer to interpersonal communication with others, having a sense of familiarity with people, or there's sometimes people make you kind of feel like you're home, even when you're not physically in your home, right? So there's this energy of just feeling like these are my people, this is my tribe. So this is the whole point of the Hierophant energy, is to kind of make a solid connection between a community. And so advice for the situation, or how to deal with this, is this sort of Three of Cups here. Now it's in the reverse here, but what this is generally going to tell you is to focus less on the rules and the cohesion aspect of it, and focus on the people that you want to be around or the people that you don't, right? So if this situation is really not benefiting your friendship with people who are important to you, or if you don't even really like the people that you're around, then it's really okay not to go down this road, or to really succumb to this sort of pressure. It's really going to make it's going to matter, because for some of you, this reading is going to point to situations that you really don't want to be in and they don't serve you, and others there's going to be importance, like home life, children, wife, husband, anything like that. So there may be a connection here that you want to preserve, and if that's the case, then this is saying to basically focus on the reason for these connections rather than the purpose or the legality of it all, the law. Focus less on what you're doing and focus more on kind of why you're doing it, and also keep in mind that these things may be far more important for others than they really are for you. And if that's the case, and you value their friendship, or you value your relationship with this person or people, it may be good for you to kind of just assume a face for the purpose of just fellowship and getting along with people. So ask yourself, in a given situation, if you're going to work and people are arguing about some kind of political thing, well, look at the stakes and ask yourself, is it really going to make a big difference for me to just sort of impress my opinion on these people? Or is it better to just let them kind of cool their heels, to get over whatever is bothering them, and to just sort of stay out of it and keep the peace, so that you maintain a better relationship with that person, which can benefit you in the long run, right? So just ask yourself, what's important to you as far as the interpersonal communications here. This is all very much involved with sort of friendships, but it could also be like family relationships. So it's all relationships here, and what it's basically getting at is to look at what you're doing in these situations as a means to an end of what you're trying to accomplish in these relationships. Okay, so that's it for pile number 1, and so we will go ahead and move on to pile number 2, if you chose the tiger's eye. So okay, so for this situation for the tiger's eye, we have the Five of Coins, and this is representing a feeling of like needing help, or being kind of poor or bankrupt in some sort of way. Maybe not literally monetarily bankrupt, but I mean, perhaps you don't really have any money to go out and do the things that you want, or you're in need of some help. But the overall idea here is that you do have some source of help that is willing to stretch out a hand and kind of give you a little bit of assistance here. It's more of a matter of just looking up and realizing that it's there, or not having so much pride that you refuse help in this situation. So the basic idea here is that whatever you're going through, it may feel difficult, like there's nowhere to turn, but there really is. If you think about it in a little bit of a different perspective, you'll see that maybe you've just been avoiding it, or you don't feel like you want to, but when it really comes down to it, you can. It may be that you're kind of protecting your image or something like that, and you don't feel like asking for help. But there's definitely a way forward here. There's some option there available to you. Now, complicating or crossing you here is the Queen of Swords. This character can be a little bit, what's the word? She can be a little overwhelming. She can be a little intimidating. So she has a way. She's very intelligent. She's smart, but almost sometimes kind of calculating. Now, this is a female, of course, in the Queen of Swords here, but this is not necessarily a female in your life, okay? So this could be a male or a female, but the general idea here is it's somebody who tends to be pretty sharp and kind of not always the nicest. She can be a little bit, calculating and cold. But she's not outright mean. She's not a mean-spirited person, but sometimes she's a little rash with her words. She's not the most emotionally sensitive type of a person, so she kind of just cuts to the point. And again, this could be a male. So this is what's kind of crossing you here. So the way this works out in my mind is that it could be that this is kind of the person that you might need some help from. This person who they make you feel bad, or they use it as sort of a, let's say, an emotional blackmail to basically hold something over your head, or to make you feel inferior if you ask them for help, if you need help. But at the same time, they are a person who's capable of helping you. They are a smart person. This may be somebody who is a little bit your senior, or some type of a mentor in your life, but somebody who you probably try to maintain some particular kind of image around. So that could be kind of leading to this need to save face a little bit. Now, the advice for the current situation is the star in the reverse. This would generally indicate that you really have two options here. You can either sort of just like not seek out help and just like let what happens. If you're going to do that, be very sure that you have the sort of faith mindset where you know everything is going to be okay regardless of what happens. Now, if you don't have that kind of faith, then what you're going to have to do is basically have faith that even though you have to ask help from this person, that's okay. So either way, what you're being asked here to do is to sort of like let go of the reservations that you have about the situation, one way or the other. And again, I don't want to get anybody backed into a corner. This is a general reading. So for some of you, this situation will not be passable. It will absolutely not work out without you asking for this help. And you will know that. And if, on the other hand, you think there's a really good chance it's not a dire situation for you to get through it without this person's help, or you find yourself able to sort of let go of the consequences of this situation, then it is a very valuable path for you to let go. So one way or the other, the idea here is to sort of let go, to not be too concerned with the outcome, but to have a little bit of faith. And so ask yourself very carefully, which of these two options leaves you feeling the most hopeful, the most faithful? And you're not going to want to do the one that does not give you some sort of hope or feeling like it's going to be okay in the long run. Excuse me. So that's pretty much it for the pile number 2. Okay. And for pile number 3, this is the Amazonite. So we have the Knight of Coins in the reverse, the Queen of Cups, and the Ace of Coins. Okay, so starting with the Knight of Coins is the kind of situation that you're in here. This can represent sort of like you feel like you really know what to do here. There's a little bit of stubborn energy. This is not a very collaborative energy at all. This is more of like, I'm kind of keeping it to myself, and I'm kind of just doing what I think is right, and nobody can really tell me otherwise. But this can be kind of to a fault here, because it's in the reverse. This isn't just raw determination in a project or something. This can be that you're being a little too internal with this. You're being a little bit too rash. You are possibly resisting doing what's really necessary to be done, and you're kind of you've got it in your head that it can be a certain way, and it's maybe not entirely realistic. Okay, so what's crossing you in this situation, and this can kind of tie together a little bit, you have the Queen of Cups. So there is a more balanced energy, someone who tends to be a little bit more emotional. They are possibly trying to appeal to you in this situation and trying to say, please, just kind of don't go that way. I know that you want to, but please just kind of sit back and relax a little bit and listen to what I have to say, or listen to my feelings here. My feelings are important. And that is, maybe not something that you really feel like you have the patience for. It might annoy you. It might feel like they just don't understand, right? So you might feel like they're just reacting a little bit too much out of emotion and not thinking the situation through as much as you have and all that. But they have a really good point, and it's coming from a completely different perspective. So you're going to kind of have to rest your argument a little bit, rest your way of doing things, and instead just kind of like absorb what they're saying, absorb what they are trying to get across to you, because they have an important point here. So it could be a matter of like, you think, well, it has to be done this sort of way, and they're saying, but do you even want to do that? Do you even need, so it's kind of like, I can give you a metaphor. So if you're looking for a new job and you get an offer for a job, and it's, maybe more money than you're making, but you're pretty sure that you would be kind of miserable at it, this person might approach you with this attitude of like, don't do what makes you miserable. Like, you need to be happy. Life is short, and that kind of thing. So, and you might think, well, that's foolish. We have to pay the rent. We got to do all these things. So they have a valuable perspective, and it may be that you're doing what you're doing because of what you want for them in the first place or something like that. So there's a valuable perspective here, and if they are offering you this kind of advice, there's something important for you to take from them. Now, the advice situation, or what will aid you in this whole thing, there's the Ace of Coins. So this is, I think, tending to say that some new financial opportunity will kind of come out of the blue for you, and or something new will present itself. So what it's saying is that maybe what you're seeking after here so vehemently or so aggressively is probably not the only option. So that is to say that if you wait a little bit and just kind of like look at your options, shop around a little bit, something else is bound to kind of come up. And, you know, for some reason I'm feeling a sort of job energy here. So I think that might be a strong indicator that for a lot of people who have chosen this deck, there is some sort of a job search energy going on here. But I think what it's saying is don't rush for the first thing that you see. Also take time to consider whether or not this is going to fulfill you, whether this is going to make you happy, because something else will come around eventually. A lot of companies are probably going to be doing some enhanced hiring pretty soon. So I would be on the lookout for a new financial opportunity if you're just not really sure that something is going to work for you in the near future. So that is it for the daily reading today. And please let me know in the comment section how you feel about this, if you would like any additional clarification, or if you'd like me to draw another card for you. That's absolutely fine. Please like and subscribe and check back in. I'm going to try to do these daily readings every day. So if you just need some general guidance from day to day, come check and see what I have to say. And thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow.